that's all we had time for on this edition of In Business Africa. We've been looking at the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the transport sector in Africa. However you choose to travel, do stay safe. I'm Nancy Katsugera. From me and the rest of the team here in London, thanks for watching and goodbye.
The hits to the economy are staggering. It's happening in nearly every single country. This virus respects no borders.
Look at all these businesses closed. That one closed. Next door closed.
It's unprecedented, historic, never before in the history of oil trading has the price fallen below zero.
Travel restrictions are decimating the airline industry, with many saying it's just a matter of time before another carrier goes bust.
3/4 of America's economy depend on consumer spending. It is hammering the once robust American economy.
South Africa's economic hardship will continue. The economy is set to contract by over 6%.
In Wuhan, China, where the global pandemic started, people are slowly going back to work.
What happens to these companies financially when this is all over?
There is no simple trade-off between health and the economy.
Hello, let's get you right up to date with the weather that we expect to see across much of the world in the coming days. First of all, to North America, where this front was very active as it came through Illinois. All sorts of dust fronts going on there, and it's still got enough about it into the middle part of the week for there to be some really quite heavy rain across parts of eastern Canada. The trading portion of that weather front eventually helping to trigger some pretty hefty showers and longer spells of rain through the eastern states of the USA and down into the southeastern quarter. Following on behind, quite a bit of warmth dominating the scene across central eastern parts of Canada, but nowhere near as hot as it is and continues to be so across the southwestern states of the USA. Phoenix, Arizona setting all sorts of records for the duration of the heat there. Pretty west on the western shores of Central America, so too down towards Costa Rica, Panama. Quieter by contrast, with just one or two showers out into the heart of the Caribbean. That weather front is really quite active because there's some really warm air to its north, there's some really cool air to its south, and once it moves through you, yes, the sunshine comes back out, but your temperature may have dropped 10, 12, 15 degrees. Now into central and western parts of Europe, here we're seeing a concentration of thunderstorms. They will have been quite extensive across the Adriatic shores through Wednesday, quieter on Thursday. They concentrate themselves across France, many of the western states of Europe, up towards the British Isles. There could be some disruption from flash flooding and some pretty damaging gusty winds as well. The zone of activity in Africa, a little bit further north, are bringing some welcome rains into South Sudan, some pulses, heavy ones at that, getting into parts of Nigeria, to Mali, and on to the West African states. Fairly quiet by contrast across much of central parts of the Middle East and then down into the Arabian Peninsula. Temperatures not perhaps in some locations just as high as they could be at this time of year. Great shields of cloud showing up in the satellite imagery there, yet more warnings from the Indian authorities, and no doubt extending away towards Bangladesh as well. The intensity of rainfall over the next few days, and some high-level warnings there, so please stay tuned to your local forecast. This is also quite an active front, working its way out of the northern parts of China, on its way towards perhaps the far north of South Korea, and up certainly to North Korea. The temperatures falling back in the Tokyo area, having seen a real burst of heat just a couple of days ago, and then widespread thundery downpours covering southeastern Asia, down through the Malay Peninsula and into the islands of Indonesia, certainly out towards the west, some heavy downpours there. What was a spell of pretty wet weather for Western Australia becomes Thursday's spell of fairly wet and windy fare down towards the southeastern quarter. The islands of New Zealand quieter for a time until a weather front spreads in from the south and introduces a much cooler regime to take you through the latter part of the week and on into the weekend.
Space shuttle launches were an amazing experience. It's combustible. It's really shaking kind of ride.
I was the first black man they ever seen.
You're a really wonderful dancer, but you're never going to be a ballerina because of the color of your skin.
We achieved what we thought would be impossible, i.e. settlement rights for all workers.
She says, Norman, you won the Nobel Prize.
Witness History on BBC World News.
This is BBC World News. I'm Samantha Simmons. Our top stories. Making history. Senator Kamala Harris becomes the first black woman on a major presidential ticket after she's chosen as Joe Biden's running mate. Britain's economy falls into a recession. New figures show UK growth fell a record 20% in the first wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Emergency teams race to stop an environmental catastrophe in Mauritius as a run-aground cargo ship threatens to break up. The country's Prime Minister tells the BBC it was an unexpected disaster.
We have, of course, reviewed our protocol with regard to oil spilling, but of course it was never expected that we could have such a catastrophe.
And size does matter. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson leads the Forbes list on the world's highest paid male actors. Hello and welcome to BBC World News. The US Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has chosen the California Senate